on a legacy unbroken from the time of medieval guilds. I couldn't believe that while so many visitors knew about Michelangelo and Da Vinci, so few knew about these living traditions and their makers. It became my mission to lead travelers beyond the tourist traps, helping them discover authentic traditions and their makers, and come home with great treasures in their suitcases. My focus is cultural immersion through a greater appreciation of artistic traditions and the people who still practice them. It's impossible not to want to take a little piece of Florence home with you. In our world of mass production, many of us yearn for unique, culturally authentic, and immersive experiences. I can think of no better way to appreciate Florentine culture than by experiencing the stories, the people, and the beautiful objects behind the timeless traditions of this captivating city of art. Chapter 1: How to Shop in Florence. Take one glance at the hundreds of leather jackets flapping in the breeze in the San Lorenzo market, and you will realize how overwhelming shopping in Florence can be. We all want to come home from Florence with a special souvenir, but selecting which leather bag or gold bracelet is the right choice can be intimidating. How do you know if you're buying something authentic and high quality, something made locally and in a traditional way? How do you gauge how much you should pay, and how do you know if you're being ripped off? How do you determine if you have fallen prey to one of the city's many tourist traps? High-pressure sales tactics, the plethora of brand-name knockoffs sold on the street, and a dizzying array of high and low-quality merchandise marketed alongside one another in the same shops and markets all make for a confusing shopping experience. Is the pursuit of authenticity worth all the trouble? You bet. Learning about the authenticity of Florentine craft traditions immerses you in the history of the city and the spirit of the Florentines themselves. In fact, I would argue that it's one of the best ways to experience Florence from the inside out, ensuring that you'll go home with memories and hopefully a meaningful souvenir to treasure for a lifetime. The craft traditions of Florence are deeply embedded in the city's history, arguably more so than any city in the world. From the 12th century onward, the Florentine craft guilds, the Corporazioni di Arte e Mestieri, dominated the city's economic and social organization. The 7 major guilds, Arti Maggiori, 5 middle guilds, Arte Mediane, and 9 minor guilds, Arti Minori, organized the lives of all craftspeople, from painters to sculptors, furriers to cobblers, and makers of everything from hats to belts, keys, bracelets, goblets, rugs, lamps, spoons, shoes, and stockings. Each maker had a role to play in Florentine society, and each contributed to the city's culture of high technical skill, reputation for quality, and economic might. By the late Middle Ages, every neighborhood of Florence pulsed with the lifeblood of these trades. The ruling Medici family only served to bolster this already thriving culture of artisanal expertise by patronizing makers of fine objects in silver, gold, stone, textiles, and other materials. This intense flourishing of artisanal production helped pave the way for Florence to take its rightful place as the artistic capital of the Renaissance. Today, the spirit of excellence and technical skill continues to pervade Florence, giving the city its particular flavor that draws art lovers from around the world. A 15th century map known as the Carta della Catena, now conserved in the Friedrich Museum in Berlin, Germany, depicts the massive city walls and segmented quarters of Florence at the dawn of the Renaissance. Historically, artisans were scattered across the city with small concentrations of tradespeople involved in the same or related trades. For example, at the end of the 15th century, tanneries were located along the Arno, while goldsmiths clustered in the Santo Spirito neighborhood before moving to the Ponte Vecchio and surrounding streets a century later. Many other artisans occupied the poorer sections of the Oltrarno district on the southern bank of the Arno River. Today, many makers of traditional wares still cluster in the Oltrarno, especially around the Piazza Pitti and the Via Borgo San Frediano. I love this section of town since it preserves the character of an old-world artist neighborhood, similar to the left bank of Paris. It's full of cafes, hole-in-the-wall restaurants, and combined studio and living spaces. Navigating Florence.